Guys, it's Jeremy here at Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. We've made it, guys. This is my top 10 metal albums of 2025. Thanks to everyone who watched the other videos leading up to this one. My top 10 death metal, top 10 doom, sludge stoner metal list, top 10, top 40 thrash, album covers, EPs. We've finally made it to the big daddy of all list. Top 10 metal albums of the year. Remember, I didn't do an count on how many album reviews I did this year. I think it's around 170, 175. I did quite a few, more than I've done any other year on my channel. So I definitely heard a lot of new music this year. But enough of my rambling, guys. Let's get into the list. And starting at number 10, I actually have a tie. There's two albums I really wanted to include in my list. And how I kind of decided what to put in my top 10. It's kind of a mixture of some albums from my other list that were just the standouts in the top echelon, and then other albums that weren't part of those lists. Just the albums I kind of listened to the most over the year, the ones I wanted to go back to the most, and of course the ones I just like the best because that's the reason why I go back to them, because they're the best. So starting off at number 10, a tie, I have Pagan Altar, which was my doom kind of whatever stoner metal album of the year. They're United Kingdom. Really good album. First album with the new singer on this one. Definitely a headphones album, but really memorable songs, catchy choruses, but good strong doom elements mixed in. Still really well written songs. Just one you kind of put your headphones on and chill out to and absorb the music. Really good doom metal. If you're not familiar with this, guys, please check them out. And tied at number 10, I went with a surprising underground band called Kenji. They're a mix of like folk metal, metalcore, post-metal. They have a definitely very unique sound. It's a one-man project for the most part. He has a session drummer, but he does all the other instruments. And they're based out of Cyprus. This is their debut full-length called Of Gods and Ancestors. It was also on my top 10 album covers list. And this album is just really, really good. It just has a unique sound. Beautiful, clean vocals on this album. It's got some harsh vocals as well. His bandmate from Dagger, which was on my thrash list, lends his vocals on this as well. But I just love this album. I love the songs. They're catchy. Some of them are more subdued and just more kind of like melodic and kind of sing-along. And there's some good heavy moments on the album as well. Good blend of like light and dark. I don't know what it is about this album. I just kept going back to it. And especially the last month or two, I just kept going back to it like nonstop. It came out in early October, and I've just been listening to it nonstop, more and more frequent as the time went on. And it quickly climbed the ranks of albums I listened to the most. So I really wanted to include it at the bottom of my list at least. I don't think it's quite as good as some of the stuff at the top of my list, but a really, really strong album, and I wanted to have it in my list. Number 9, I have Teaser Suite. New band for me. This is their fourth full length called Night Stalker. They're out of Sweden. This is like a hard rock, traditional heavy metal band. They're on High Roller Records. I got sent this to me from the label as a advanced copy to check out. And this album blew me away. It's just really fun, hard rock, really rockin' tunes. Has kind of like a 70s kind of flavor to it. Great female vocals, great guitar riffs. Really catchy songs. My standout track on the album was Killer Machine. The title track was killer as well. Living in Sin, Turn Me On. So many good songs on this album. But if you want just a really fun rockin' album to listen to that captures a kind of 70s kind of vibe and swagger, definitely listen to this album. It's got some heavy metal elements in there as well, but just a really fun kind of hard rockin' album. It's really fun to listen to, and I kept going back to it all year. It came out in April, but it's been sticking with me ever since, and I still need to pick up a copy of it, but killer rockin' album, just a really fun rock and roll album. At number 8, I went with the newest from Tower from New York. They're a traditional heavy metal band. This is their third album, entitled Let There Be Dark. Another female-fronted band, really. She has a cool timbre to her voice that really makes it kind of distinct, and she really belts out, really beautiful voice, powerful but controlled. Really fun songs, heavy rocking, big guitar riffs, almost like thrashy in some parts, like some good high tempo stuff. But overall, just a really good heavy metal album. The last album was my introduction to the band, and I think this might be their best album to date, the new one. It's a really strong album. But if you're not familiar with these guys, please check them out. They are gaining popularity fairly quickly over the scene, but if you're not familiar with them, check out songs like Holy Water, And I Cry, Under the Chapel, Let There Be Dark, the title track, Ironclad. Just some really good tunes on this album. Definitely check it out. At number 7, I think it is, the new Warbringer out of California. Everyone knows Warbringer, great thrash metal band. This is their latest album, Wrath and Ruin. Just balls out thrash metal, Warbringer doing what they do best. Aggressive, in-your-face thrash metal. Every song's a hit, like a banger. High intensity, great vocals. I think it's their best album to date, to be honest. This is their 7th full-length already. They've had quite a few albums already, but this is probably my favorite of their whole discography, and just a really standout thrash album for me. Next, at number 6, I have Ancient Death metal band, debut out of Massachusetts. As explained on my death metal list, so there's like those 1 or 2 death metal albums that really grabbed me each year. Like previously, Gatecreeper's last album was a monster death metal album for me. It had a special sound to it. And Horrendous is still probably my favorite death metal album of the last 20 years. That album is just a masterpiece, but there's 1 or 2 albums that always come around every year that really grab me. And this Ancient Death album did that for me. It's got so many textures and layers to it. Different time signature changes, great vocals. It's brutal, but it's got groove, and it's got a little bit of melody. It's got everything you want out of death metal. Killer debut. Especially considering it's a debut album, it's just ridiculously good. Really good album. At number 5, I went with my boys, Testament. I had mixed feelings on this when it first came out. It's called Parabellum, if I didn't mention it. And but it's super heavy. I think it's their heaviest album since Formation of Damnation, which is back in 2008, I think. But some killer tracks on here. There's still a couple things I don't like about the album, but the things I like about it really overshadow the dislikes, if I'm being honest. Like the opening track, For the Love of Pain, super heavy fucking song. Just those blackened vocals I'm still not a huge fan of, but I've kind of grown on them a little bit over time. This came out early October more recently as well. But songs like Infanticide AI, that's just what Testament does best. High intensity thrashers, Chuck Billy's perfect thrash metal vocals, and songs like Havana Syndrome was probably my favorite song on the album. Witch Hunt is killer, Room 117, not Nature of the Beast, sorry. High Noon was good, Shadow People. Some really good thrashy Testament songs in here. Might be Chuck Billy's best vocal performance of all time. He's got his traditional melodic, kind of thrashy shouting voice, and then he's got the death metal growls on here. Songs like Meant to Be, the ballad. He's got some really good clean vocals on there. And then, of course, they embed a little bit more black metal elements into this album, which at first I wasn't a huge fan of, but it's kind of grown on me a little bit over time. Just Meant to Be is a little bit long for the ballad, and Nature of the Beast was another song I didn't overly like as much. But the album as a whole is killer, and it still had to make the list. It's just a monstrous thrash album. At number 4, I had my death metal album of the year, Vomitizer. Debut death metal album out of Norway. Really good mid-pace, groove, kind of grimy, old school, early 90s, late 80s death metal, just old death, but more mid-pace and groovy. It's got a really raw kind of swagger kind of vibe to it. I just love the way this band sounds. I love the vocals. It's just kind of grimy and gritty to it. I just love everything about this album. Was a 10 out of 10. And yeah, this my year-end list had one, two, three, I think four, 5 albums that I gave 10 out of 10 rankings this year. I think it was only 5. Actually, six albums in total. But yeah, Vomitizer, my death metal album of the year. Definitely check these guys out if you're not familiar with them. Killer death metal. At number 3, it'll be a big shock to a lot of people. I have Struck a Nerve, was my thrash metal album of the year. It even surprised me. They're a crossover thrash out of the UK. This is their debut, self-titled. And this album just fucking rips. It's 9 songs. Every song is incredible. It's so reminiscent of like Power Trip. I think that's why I grabbed onto it so much. It's really like reminds me of the Power Trip album. It's just that like really simplistic but catchy as fuck riffs. So much groove, and it just makes you headbang. The songs aren't over complicated. They're just straightforward, good crossover thrash, great vocals. The groove is so infectious. The riffs are incredible. And it's just an album I couldn't stop listening to. I kept going back to it and back to it and back to it. Even when albums like Testament came out, Coroner, like those big albums, Hazard, like even those big thrash albums that were out there, this is the one I went to more than any of them. And if you haven't heard this album, guys, please check it out. You know, it's not going to grab everyone the same way. People hear things differently. But for me, to my ears, this album just fucking rips. And number 1 and 2 was an interesting kind of debate. I kind of hemmed and hawed over these two for a long time. The one I decided to put at number 2 has been my number 1 album, literally, which is since February. I liked it that much. It blew me away. It's a masterpiece. And no matter what came out, I kept saying, this album is still number 1. This album is still number 1. Until number 1 came along. And number 2, I decided to go with Havakrunu with their new album, Tavisland. This is like God tier level album to me. The number 1 and 2 for me are like God tier. Like these albums are 11 out of 10s. They're perfect. This is all in Finnish, but the musicality, the intensity in the riffs, there's like, it's so epic. There's like these like grand choruses, like choirs behind them, like really lift the music and swell the music, and it's so epic and going to war kind of vibes, and like, oh, it's so heavy at the same time and dark and ambient, and it's got atmosphere. The vocals are great. It doesn't matter if it's not in English because it's just so fucking incredible. Oh, this album is just incredible. I had to listen to my number 1 and 2 album back to back. I went back and forth and listened to them like 3 times each, and to decide which one I was going to put at number 1. I just really, like, they're so close. It's like cutting hairs. But I decided to put the newest Havakrunu at number 2. If you have not heard this band, for God's sake, guys, listen to this band. Their last album was my introduction to them, and I've loved this band ever since. It's killer band. And it's not the traditional kind of black metal, like pagan black metal. They have a lot of other elements and kind of stuff mixed into it, whereas I'm not a black metal fan almost at all, but this album really still grabbed me. It's got a ton of melody still, a lot of like traditional heavy metal elements, some doomy elements, so it's epic. Like, if you're not a fan of black metal, don't get scared off from the album. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. You'll love it. And at number 1, guys, drum roll please, I went with An Abstract Illusion with their latest album, The Sleeping City. Masterpiece album. The only one that knocked Havakrunu finally off their perch. This came out mid-October. It's their 3rd full length. It's my first introduction to the band. I know their last album I heard this year, a lot of people saying their last album got a lot of praise. I never heard it before. But the new album, Sleeping City, perfect artwork, perfect music, great vocals. It's like really atmospheric, progressive, death metal, tons of progressive elements, a lot of keyboard and synth used to really swell the music and make it sound epic. And It's a perfect blend of beautiful passages mixed with like super heavy burst of heavy moments, like death metal moments. It kind of reminds me of Opeth that way, where they can go from like this really fucking heavy, crunchy riff and death metal brutality down to these like beautiful guitar passages that kind of take you away on a journey. Had that kind of vibe to it, but a little bit more on the synth and keyboard, more atmospheric than an Opeth in that sense, in that way. Not quite as dark as Opeth, a little bit lighter feeling, but it still had a good blend of like dark and light moments. Everything about this album is perfect. The artwork, the music, the vocals, and the good clean vocals mixed in there as well from time to time. Great guttural vocals. Guitar playing is through the roof. Great riffs, good progressive elements, time signature changes. The songs are long, which was my only gripe when I first reviewed the album, but they kind of went away pretty quickly. Most of the songs are seven minutes or longer, except for one. But definitely a headphones album. You lay down in your bed in the dark, put your over-the-ear headphones on, and just let the music take you away. This album is perfect. My #1 album of 2025, An Abstract Illusion with The Sleeping City. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know down below what your top 10 of the year are. I'm always like to hear what people have on their picks. Until next time, keep it metal.